Kate Hardcastle, what do you make of this?
The Christmas markets have added nearly £500 million to the economy. There are certainly good examples and terrible examples. And within the terrible, I would say they're probably the towns and cities that have seen an example of it done well and then tried to cut, copy and paste and probably done it not very adequately, not thinking about how much connectivity you need to build into them, how much they need to be unique and offer experience. But our consumers are changing forever. They don't want traditional retail anymore. Our high streets are waning. We've had 5 high street ministers in 6 years. We need a turnaround plan that is certainly bigger than Christmas markets. But to see joy and humour and people coming together in a communal way through a Christmas market in a town and city that's done it quite well, I'm very pleased that they're there as a short term, certainly.
So, but do you think that this is a sustainable way of actually sorting out the problems in the high street? You talk about changing needs of consumers. Is this a sustainable answer to that?
It's purely seasonal, and as we've both alluded to, there are very poor examples of it done as well, where your contributors there talked about the repetitiveness and the overprice. But generally, where people have seen extra tourism, where they've seen experience retail, that gives us an indication of what's wanted and needed, and that's what we need to do with a bigger plan, a better plan for our towns and city centres.
Well, absolutely, sir. Total agreement there. I mean, the high street does need gingering up, and consumers need better opportunities. But that's why this is my whole point about the Christmas market. If you're going to exploit Trafalgar Square, exploit it brilliantly. Don't offer rubbish novelty mugs from China and industrial bratwurst. We've got fantastic craft breweries, artisan gins, a new wave of craftsmen. Get somebody like Norman Foster or David Chipperfield to design a fabulous pop-up installation which commands the respect of the world.
But these places have always been littered by that kind of thing. Go into the gift shop of the National Gallery and you'll find a hearty amount of tax.
I think that's a bit harsh on the National Gallery. I think there's been a problem in front of the National Gallery in Trafalgar since they pedestrianised it. Instead of being the sort of noble vista it should have been, it's had sort of snake charmers and stilt walkers in it, and that's been a problem which the National Gallery recognises. But I really want to emphasise the point that I'm not against, not in any sense against people enjoying themselves, but give people, the mere popularity of these things is not a test of quality. I mean, public executions and live sex would also be very, very popular.
I'd love to emphasise the importance of it not just being about Trafalgar Square. You've mentioned it 3 times, and actually there's a whole network of 70 million people deserving, if they want fun and humour and some Christmas feel in their towns and city centres. And there's some brilliant examples throughout the UK, so we can't just name and shame on one example.
You also said, Kate Hardcastle, there are some poor examples as well.
Absolutely.
Do you think there need to be better protections and rules around how these can be done?
Consumers are very savvy to start with. They won't repeat a visit if they've absolutely hated it and don't find good value there. And actually, it's damaging for your tourism and your own brand as a town and city. So you need to do these well. But we have bigger problems to solve. And this is a seasonal offer that generally is done quite well. And people do find good humour and some Christmas spirit when they see some seashell photo frame and have a good laugh at it because they don't want to buy it. I think bringing people together is so important. We've got a huge isolation crisis, and I'm absolutely not going to be a Grinch about Christmas markets.
And Stephen Bailey, so this is sort of an effective use of these spaces, which otherwise, as you say, might be filled with street performers or people just not spending money.
Use the spaces, but do it properly. I mean, don't condescend and patronise to the consumers.
But Kate,
consumers are not
consumers, if they weren't into it, they'd go.
I think, look, there's another argument against this. Let me explain. I do sometimes leave Trafalgar Square. In fact, I was in Edinburgh last weekend, where the Christmas market is causing profound misery amongst established tradespeople there who've invested in the area and actually doing very well. And the Christmas market is spoiling their established pitch, with the lowering rubbish which Christmas markets offer.
Thank you both very much. Stephen Bailey, the chairman of the Royal Fine Art Commission Trust, and Kate Hardcastle is a consumer retail expert, PM at bbc.co.uk.